The God Queen's Fury. This artifact challenge is for Arcane Mage, Retribution Paladin, Assassination Rogue, Enhancement Shaman, and Demonology Warlock. Is an intense fight with so many mechanics, you might as well wait for Tomb of Sargeras if you haven't beaten it yet. In the Halls of Valor, you will face off against 3 enemies, Sigryn, Jarl Velbrand, and Runeseer Faljar. They share a health pool of 310 million HP, but you only need to bring Sigryn down to 20% or approximately 63 million health. The Runeseer lives at the end of the fight, but Jarl Velbrand will be killed before the other two give up. Sigryn has 4.5 abilities you will encounter: Throw Spear, Advance, Dark Wings, Blood of the Father, and Empowered, with Empowered being the half ability. With Throw Spear, Sigryn tosses a spear at your current location, and upon landing a green fell puddle will appear. The puddle does moderate ticking damage, and you should avoid standing in it.
Fucking stand in it.
Advance is an attack that deals some damage and a small knockback, but it's mostly just an annoyance in the fight. With Dark Wings, Sigryn summons a wall of Dark Valkyr to charge across the arena. There is a gap in the wall for the player to avoid being hit, similar to Cordana's Creeping Doom from Vault of the Wardens. Failing to find the hole means you'll take an insanely high amount of damage. From my experience, the damage isn't always lethal while at full HP, but I'm a cheating paladin, so what do I know, huh? Blood of the Father is Sigryn's deadliest ability. After a short cast, Sigryn will empower and transform herself with fell energy. While empowered, she will pulse extremely high and quickly lethal damage every half second for 30 seconds. This cast cannot be interrupted, but long crowd control like Polymorph prevents the empowerment from occurring. CC can be placed on her after she's transformed to prevent more pulse damage. I dealt with this by putting Repentance on her a few seconds before she attempted to cast it. While under the effect, Sigryn will attempt to perform Blood of the Father, but the CC cancels her cast and the ability is ignored completely. Sigryn's last half ability is Empowered. Throughout the fight, Sigryn empowers one of the 3 NPCs, giving them a powerful attack. And that's what it does, it makes them stronger. Next up we have Jarl Shellbank. Jamal's bread and butter is Hurl Axe, which does moderate to low damage. With this, he throws an axe in a wonky arc toward the player. Kind of. Look, the axe's path is a bit odd, but it can be avoided. So just avoid it. It's that easy. His second ability is Blade Storm. Surprise! With this ability, he spins in a circle and does a whirlwind attack with his weapon. Unlike warriors, Blade Storm does a shit ton of damage and it pulls you toward him. Run away and you're golden. Or stun him. You can stun him too, by the way. You just stun him. Lastly, Jethro Tull's empowered attack is Berserker's Rage. While empowered, he will grow in size and become very angry with you for getting his name wrong. The Jarl will then pursue you and deal massive damage with his melee attacks. Slows, stuns, and snares should be used to keep him at bay. Run away from him as well because he hits like a 10-ton truck. Our last enemy is Runeseer Faljar. Faljar mainly casts Shadow Bolt during the fight, which does very minimal damage. This cast can be interrupted, but he will immediately cast another Shadow Bolt after it. As melee, you can shimmy him around the arena by getting into auto attack range and then stutter stepping away from him. I'm not sure if this is intended, but this helps by moving him next to others to benefit off of AoE damage or to get him off of puddles. Throughout the encounter, the Runeseer will summon 3 runes which will appear on the ground. It's crazy that the Runeseer makes runes. They appear in large, medium, and small sizes and will gradually shrink until they disappear. Once a rune disappears, it will explode and kill you. To prevent being killed to death, step on all 3 of the runes to destroy them. You should usually step on the small, then medium, then large rune to give yourself the most amount of time to deal with them, but it's not always going to happen. React to what you're dealt with, and you'll be fine. Faljar's empowered ability is Ancestral Knowledge. This attack starts by granting a shield to the Runeseer, followed by a 20-second channel. Once his channel finishes, you will die a painful death. You must interrupt this ability, but can only do so once his shield is depleted. I recommend saving cooldowns to burn through his shield. Like no shit. Also appearing in the arena are Orbs of Valor. Stepping on these heals you for a significant amount of your health. You will need to use these to survive. I don't know the exact duration for the orbs, but I would guess no longer than 15 seconds. That's the entirety of the fight, and I'll give some tips for Ret Pallies from what I've learned to defeat Sigryn. First off, these are the talents that I use. Most of these are personal preference, but the only talent you have to take is Repentance. The only way to deal with Sigryn's Blood of the Father is to CC her with Repentance, so that's why you have to take it. The reason I used Eye for an Eye was to conserve on Holy Power instead of using it on Justicar's Vengeance or Word of Glory. On top of that, it reduces a lot of incoming damage while doing some back to them. If you don't have Aegis Ylmer, the bracers with an anti-death passive, I recommend taking Divine Intervention. When you mess up and should die, your Divine Shield will be popped instead and you can heal yourself up to full. I use Aegis Ylmer and opted for Judgment of Light instead for the healing. Lastly, if you're concerned about breaking Sigryn out of Repentance, don't take Consecration or Divine Hammer. This will be a DPS loss, at least with dropping Divine Hammer, but it makes the fight a bit less hectic. Try for yourself and see which setup works best for you. I pulled this encounter by taunting Sigryn so that she would run to the middle of the room to put her under Repentance. I then ran to the Runeseer and started stutter stepping my way towards the Jarl while building Holy Power. Once in position to hit both targets, I used Avenging Wrath and put in as much damage as I could. While under Avenging Wrath, target the Jarl to deal with his Berserker's Rage with an initial stun, and then kite him around while he's slowed. You'll be slowing him with Hand of Hindrance. After that, get ready for 2 rounds of Rune Sweeper. During the second round, Sigryn will cast Blood of the Father. After that, the rest of the fight is pretty repetitive. Dodge the Blade Storm, interrupt Ancestral Knowledge, and avoid Dark Wings. This really isn't a DPS race, and the encounter gets significantly easier once the Runeseer gets around 30% HP, or after Sigryn's 3rd cast of Blood of the Father. When you reach this point, the only abilities that appear are Ancestral Knowledge, Dark Wings, Throw Spear, and Sigryn's Knockback. When all's said and done, Sigryn will lay down her weapon while you get a snazzy appearance for your own. Good luck!